Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a recap show with your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
the Guru, back again, this time to recap an 11-week straight run of UFC events, basically summing up, I would say, quarter one of season 2024 here, right? I mean, we're really, this to me signifies the kickoff of and you know what? We're kind of already, let's call it quarter two, right? Let's call it quarter two. What's the math exactly? If we've had 13 events of 43, that's not a quarter though, is it? That's
a little bit more than a quarter. Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at. So we're kind of into quarter two. We just kind of started quarter two here.
That's fair.
I think
that's
that makes
fair.
sense.
Listen, I'm all about quarter
but that's
two.
how long I'm all about quarter two. But
Yeah.
that's how long this run was. This 11-week run took basically all of quarter one and a chunk of quarter two here.
Yeah, and now that we've figured out how many quarters there are in a year, we've done our job, and the show is done. Right? No,
thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
No, but in all seriousness, I think it's important, like as part of the betting process, to kind of look back at what you've done recently and see, are there any trends or patterns that you kind of keep going to the well and it's not working for you. So without going back to take a look at your past, how could you possibly shape your future? Now, not going to lie, it hasn't been the prettiest. We've had a couple missteps here or there, but at the end of the day, I think it's actually a big part of our process, now and going forward. And we started this with the first break after the first 2 weeks this year. We just want to take a deep dive into, or maybe a quick dive into exactly what happened, what went wrong, what went right, and are there any patterns that we're seeing in these past few weeks for us? So we're starting at the Dolidze versus Imavov card. So right off the bat, having 2 units on Roman Dolidze, we're playing for a guy that has power and finishing potential against someone that clearly, very difficult to finish and able to move around a bunch. I mean, now the other bet, Moicano versus Dober? But I mean, you do that one again, right, Guru? Minus 130?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I had 4 units on that.
Yeah, that was a hot one. Now, Mahmoud Murdoch versus Khizriev, 2 units plus 150. We really never got to see that one get cooking, right?
That's true.
Pete Rodriguez versus Themba Garimbo. That was a half unit thrown immediately into the garbage. Just poor thoughts and planning. I like that we thought about a dog idea, but it's just like, could you have chosen a worse one? So Markel Medeiros, though, minus 135. That was a good play against Landon Quinones. Those short favorites, all coming off a contender series, seem to be doing better than the large favorites. And finally, we had our first AIDS parlay to talk about on the show here. Gilbert Urbina and Azat Maxim parlayed for plus 135, and neither guy wins. And that's going to be a fun theme that we have to investigate going forward, is like, when do the AIDS parlays stop? So
right. Listen, I don't know whether they also somewhat work. On this card specifically, I parlay Molly McCann and Natalia Silva. And that comes home. I also think, like you're talking about, it's just the quality of the shots and the quality of the looks. Roman Dolidze never really was in that fight, to be quite honest. And, we also look at another bet we placed in Pete Rodriguez. Like, that's kind of burning money. It's the wrong dog shot to be taking. But what I am proud of in the work on this card is taking somebody like Markel Medeiros, somebody that, is making their UFC debut, somebody that we don't know, somebody that, we have to do tape on and then make a decision. And, as young cappers, people that aren't super experienced but are getting there, right? I'm proud of that kind of work.
Yeah, definitely. And we read the line movement on fight day, like right before it really started going, and we were like, listen, man, like, he probably is just going to win this fight. I think we've been overrating Landon in a loss. So, all right, we're moving on. Next event.
We never really liked Landon. I certainly didn't, but.
No. It's just, you look at prices and you get ideas, and then the tape tells you the whole story. Yeah, Daz, there are 5 quarters in the year, so appreciate you joining us on this fine betting review. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, please throw a like on the video. It helps out a ton. So, Jack Hermanson versus Joe Pyfer. All right. So some interesting ones, obviously. So we jumped on the live betting train for this one on Jack Hermanson, but quite frankly, going into the fight, didn't have anything on the main event tracked. But Darius Flowers was a dog shot we took versus Michael Johnson. Not ideal. Not ideal. Experienced speaks a lot. Armin Petrosian versus Adolfo Vieira. It's a lesson in how much has this guy really improved? You know what I mean? Like, and if he shows you something continuously, expect it to get exposed by the higher level guys, right?
I also think it's a sign of when somebody does something at a very elite level, um, they're gonna get there. I think it was a call me crazy, and I'm sure you will. You'll hate it, but to me in that fight, it's like it's almost shades of Calvin Cater and Aljo. It's like, oh, you think that the striker is gonna keep him off, or you think that he's gonna be able to get up from the bottom or whatever. But when somebody's in deep that really wants to be, there's a good chance that they're going to control him there. So in both of those fights, the guys give up the position and they don't do well because of it.
Right. Jeremy Wells versus Max Griffin. I mean, 1.5 units on Wells is the favorite there, and we were leaning towards the Max Griffin side kind of earlier in the week, and it comes down to an experience striking from distance, and these control wrestlers that aren't getting submissions or damage. It's not really the ticket anymore, is it?
No. That I think there's been a major change in how the judges are following the legalese of the MMA criteria. I mean, they are not giving any credence to wrestling. And like I'm not like a big fan of it personally. Like to me, wrestling is a mixed martial art. And if you don't like it, get up. Like I don't think it makes boring fights, the stalling. Like I mean, I think that the stalling has been fine. Like if somebody's stalling or not working, the refs stand them up or separate them. Otherwise, you're being controlled. You're being controlled against the cage. Okay, work an underhook and get the fuck out of there if that's not what you want. Otherwise, you're losing. Like I just don't like it. But it doesn't matter what we like, and it matters even less what we think. It matters what the judges are doing because they're the ones that control the money. So read the legalese. And, for me, I'm just trying to really change the way I watch fights. Unless in a wrestling exchange or a grappling exchange, unless there's strikes being thrown or submissions being looked for, you're like you're doing just as bad as being on bottom, which again makes no fucking sense because if this guy's doing nothing, you're doing still then less than nothing because you're the one on bottom. But
right.
there's a good chance that you could still score. Again, like in the Bulgarian fight, you give up that knee as you're coming in for a takedown, that scores. Even though the guy looks like, his face is fucking clean, no damage, but you think it's a damaging strike. Like we go round and round with it. We could have a whole podcast just on that.
Yeah, I mean, so there's certain things you can look for in favorites that make them more comfortable to play, but like Ige versus Andre Fili, I mean, clean, easy knockout, step up in competition for Fili, and then Gregory Rodriguez, that's a parlay versus Brad Tavares. Now, that's about finding like legitimate, solid favorites at not too crazy a price. Now, it's a parlay, but you're getting plus money on two legs, and you're getting guys that both win that fight. What, inside the distance, right?
Correct.
Or Rodriguez goes the distance? No,
he finished him.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what you're looking for.
Round
guys with finishing potential. Now, when you're betting Devin Clark versus Marcin Prachnio, that's where things go wrong. And yeah, Loma was fine versus Bruna Brazil, but I mean, she still fought that fight too close for a minus 275. And we knew she'd go to decision, so we're done, right?
To me, exactly. To me, that's just a lazy fight. In that we're like, okay, well, we don't like Devin Clark, but we really hate Marcin Prachnio. But it's like, okay, but can Devin Clark actually close the distance? Can Devin Clark actually get takedowns? And he can't because he's small and he sucks. So he gets kicked to oblivion.
And then this is another one of those spots where Carlos Prates is making his debut against Trevin Giles. And, the initial inclination is to fade the Contender Series debutant, but instead you take the right prop on the debutant and Prates in round 1 or 2, and he damn near almost doesn't get it. But at the end of round 2, with a minute left, gets the knockout and makes a plus 105 prop look really good for a guy that's a minus 2 something favorite. So, yeah, he has a slow start. There was opportunities to jump in on a live bet, which has become a big part of our game. If you're sitting there watching the fights live, there's money to be made. So don't be sleeping on that. All right, we're moving on to the next card. This was a masterclass in decision-making. So Ilya Topuria, 2.5 units at plus 160. We got in early against Volkanovski, coming back short notice after getting knocked out clean. It was a clear spot for the younger lion to take the throne. And then Amanda Lemos versus Mackenzie Dern. I don't know how that fight didn't end inside the distance, but that's as good as you can want a minus 130 to look, right?
Yeah.
So places where we went wrong. 1 unit shot on Junior Tafa, the shitty Tafa brother that filled in on 1 day notice after the weigh-in, and 1 unit shot on Brenson Hibero against Mingyang Chang. I don't hate that one as much as I hate the Tafa one. At least Hibero was like landing some shots. Like we expected it to be a war in the pocket. We took the bigger guy with longer arms and didn't work out in our favor. I'd take that one again. I would not take Junior Tafa again. That was legitimately stupid.
Yeah, 100%. Wait, in the Rivera fight, I don't know that was the right pick. I think honestly, if that's what you learn from that, I'm not sure I agree. I think what you do, honest to God, is we knew that they both had high probabilities of getting round 1 finishes.
Yeah.
You pick who you want to pick. You circle who you want to circle. If that's what you want to go to sleep with and put your pillow to, it's fine. But you don't put money on that money line. You take the props because with props, the pricing is so good, you can play both sides. And the VIG or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can still make money by keeping your units, whatever, even as long as they hit.
All right. So what I didn't like was our decision to do fight goes the distance after taking Topuria a short notice knockout, all that narrative, and then being like, well, if we take fight goes the distance here, Volkanovski's tough. It's like, yeah, but man, he cuts a lot of weight going back down. That's like a hedge without wanting to hedge, in my opinion. I didn't like that in retrospect.
No, I don't know, because as the fight started to unfold, I felt like Topuria was starting to pull away, and then he just put him out. Like, I just feel like
I thought it was closer than him starting to pull away.
Well,
but that's a conversation for another time.
But again, I think he's starting to work. I think he's starting. The first round was really, really close, right? And that second round, he clips him. So right. and he ends it quickly. But I thought Topuria won the first round despite it being close. But that's just me.
Yeah, I still think don't. If you're already taking the dog shot, why are you playing money on fight goes the distance?
No, that's
my issue. That's what I'm saying. It's a bad play in retrospect. It's a hedge without wanting to hedge.
When you keep saying hedge without wanting to hedge, I didn't think Volkanovski was going to win a decision. It wasn't a hedge. There's no part of me that was worried about Topuria. I thought Topuria was going to win a decision.
I like playing the 0.2 on Topuria to win by decision that we lost, rather than the fight goes the distance at that point. We bet all 3 of those, by the way. That's the whole point here. Like, we're tripling down on props, but I would rather just keep it to Topuria by decision rather than adding fight goes
I agree. I think we got a little too cute, and that was a mistake.
But fight goes the distance, Whitaker Costa, 2 durable guys that continually go to the distance. I like it.
Right. Well, I had to convince you on that though too, and you picked Paulo Costa, so whatever.
Yeah, fair enough. Rinya Nakamura by sub.
We're not done with this card yet.
Well, I mean, you've taken a very long time on a few of the fights. I'm trying to rip through here. Yeah. You've talked a lot more than me. We have Rinya Nakamura by sub 0.5. He had him in positions. Bad bet. Barlow by knockout. That was a great bet. He killed Quinlan. Andrea Lee versus Maverick. Someone wins by split/majority. I mean, plus 320, but still, I mean, Maverick just kind of put it on her. And then
it's a quarter unit. You're literally lame.
It was 0.5 units.
And it went to decision.
Yeah, but it was 0.5 units on ours. We still won 3 units on.
I played a quarter on mine. So
fair enough. Well,
and that's what I bet. I didn't bet 10. I bet 5. Like, I don't.
UFC Mexico City. Manuel Torres versus Chris Duncan. Minus 125, 3 units. Fantastic. Jesus Aguilar, 2 units plus 140 versus Mendonça. We got gifted, but we also got Victor Altamirano stolen from us. So it's even. It's even.
100%. Honestly. And that's usually how it works.
And both of those are good bets at plus money.
I agree.
Luis Rodriguez before the line moved against Denise Bondar. Fantastic bet. Brandon Moreno in a parlay. Terrible bet. You can't commit. Minus 290 against Royval. Terrible bet. Parlaying minus 290 on a guy that
No, we didn't like him. We didn't like him. We said
Yeah, it was dumb.
We did so well. We cooked so well all week, and we kind of just like gave up on the dog there because
Yeah.
we're like, okay, well, because you're not finishing Moreno, so then what? But like, yeah, but then what? Moreno didn't wrestle, and they brawled on the feet, and he stole a split. I mean, I don't mean steal like he didn't deserve to win. I mean like he was the underdog, and he snatched one. Short notice underdog.
Yeah, it's a good question, but Puelles by submission. I mean, he did ragdoll, see him a couple times, but bad bet. Puelles.
I didn't bet Puelles. Oh yeah, we did pay Puelles by sub. That was dumb. But yeah, it took everything. You wanted to play Puelles straight up. I was like, I'm playing fucking ZM. Fuck that.
Nice. So, well, here's my thing: is like, how if you end up playing something different, does it end up on our collaborative bet MMA? Is my question.
Which part? I didn't. I mean, like I ended up playing ZM. I played ZM round 3 decision. Like that's literally tracked on my bet MMA. Like I thought that.
Did you play Puelles by sub or no?
Correct, at a half a unit, but I also played a unit on round 3 decision, so I end up okay.
Right. Okay. Well, I was just asking if you placed the Puelles by sub bet or not. That was my question.
I did.
So the answer is yes.
I said yes.
Cool. So you did. All right. So
that's now the 4th time I've said yes.
Next card. This is as disgusting as it gets. We have 3 units on Big Meal Shamil. It's absolutely gross. Yeah, it's not as gross as it gets though. Bernardo Sopai. I mean, that guy was winning up until he wasn't, and Vinicius Oliveira.
That was brutal.
Knockout of the year up until Max Holloway got his knockout. Loic Rajabov versus Abdul Karim Al Sawadi. What awesome fight. 1 unit plus 145 would do again. Minus 800 on Javid Basharat in a parlay would not do that one again.
Terrible. But it's what got us our awesome interview with Ayman Zahabi. So
hey, you win some, you lose some, right? All right. Miami UFC 299. Michael Venom Page for a unit. What a gangster bet. That guy dominated every second of that fight.
That was great fun. That was great. I wish we were more confident in that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I came around on it late. I wasn't confident enough. I bet more money on it before the fight happened.
And it was it was a great card, and there was a lot of spots to just be like looking at. So that was a tough one.
Yeah.
We liked it.
Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della legit would do it again.
You have to. That's part of that fight is the exact idea of keep with your process regardless of the results. Because Gilbert Burns at plus money is the absolute right side. He's winning that fight 2-0 and is about to win and pulls the Korean zombie Justin Gaethje. He's like, here I go. Dude, reset, relax. Nope, needs to die. All right, buddy.
Yeah, you're right, Daz. That's what we continually talk about here, and we'll get to the fight that bothers us the most coming up. But yeah, no damage top time. Even if you are kind of like transitioning through positions, it doesn't matter unless you're actually doing something with it these days. Petr Yan versus Song Yadong, fantastic bet. Easy money. Cash it very nicely.
That was a huge bet for us. Huge bet for us.
Huge, biggest bet of the night, and it cashes. Jalton Almeida versus Curtis Blades, disappointing.
AIDS.
Disappointing.
I mean, like, it's just a fight that you probably everybody and their grandma had to stake their flag in it because it's a heavyweight banger, and where did you end up? But it's like, come on, man. If you bet Curtis, like, come on, that's not how you thought it was gonna happen, did you? I mean, maybe.
Macy Barber minus 170, 2 units, pretty solid. She beat Chukagian handily. That was an easy win. Pedro Munoz versus Kyler Phillips. That wasn't ideal. Kyler Phillips actually looks legit as hell. Munoz is now just the punished. He's not the young Punisher anymore.
See, like, and that to me was like dumb as hell. Like, I think I even ended up picking Phillips.
Kyler, yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck were you doing?
So we made a change in the process. Unless you're actually picking the guy to win, you can't really bet him as a dog.
No, because there's no value on if you don't think the guy's going to win, it doesn't matter what the line is. That's bullshit. Then you're lying to yourself.
Yeah. Felipe Lins versus Iwan Kudelaba. Easy money. Like that one. Plus 116.
That was great. That's one
Michel Pereira.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Versus Oleg Zaechuk. I mean, I got you around to the Pereira side there, so I'm happy about that. That was a good one. 3 units.
You got me to the Pereira side? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, he didn't. No, you did not. I didn't like Oleg at all. I got you to the Pereira side.
Oh no, I was thinking about Andre Petrosky. I'm sorry. You didn't get me to the Pineda
which you
side.
never
I
got me
loved
to.
him.
Yeah, I got to
Yeah.
the
No,
Pineda
I'm
side
sorry. I'm sorry.
because Oleg was a round one or bust guy. I'm like, this dude's not knocking out Pineda. Why is
No,
this
no,
fight
that's
so
right. That's
exciting?
why we had so many units on it. We were both loving it. So
Correct.
sorry about that. I was thinking about Petrosky. My bad. Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera. We had fight doesn't go the distance, and damn, it was kind of close, a couple points, right? But ultimately, just not the right bet. Didn't need to touch it. And Santini wins in rounds 1, 2, or 3, and I mean that was his win equity. So just didn't happen. So
that's no, that's a dumb. See, like what you're to me, you're highlighting the wrong thing. I don't feel as bad about the fight doesn't go in Sean O'Malley Cheeto because yes, Cheeto's obviously insanely durable, but the fight could have been stopped a couple times. Like that was fucking nuts. And then okay, and yourself, and then fucking Saint. There's no justification to taking Saint Denis. Like that.
Well, we didn't play his money line. We played his win equity at round 1, 2, or 3.
It's still dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Dustin Poirier has weathered the storm. He's shown it time and time again. And by the way, I saw that dude's fucking thing on his head, and I'm like, that's fucking staph. You're like, oh, I think it's just a pimple. And I'm like, I don't know, man. And whatever, whether it actually affected him or not, it certainly affected his mental. And yeah, Dustin the Diamond, man, now fighting for the title in June. See you there.
Moving on to Tuivasa versus Ty Burke card. Talk about the worst thing that could have happened. I mean, right off the top, we had a unit on Tai Tuivasa, and that was very dumb. So that happened. Classic.
Horrible.
Classic, terrible.
I don't even. It's just bad. It's just bad tape. It's bad process. It's bad everything. Why do we think that he's going to get knocked out? He can't. I thought he would scramble to get up. He's not the same guy anymore. He doesn't give a fuck.
We didn't take into account as much him starting his own businesses and
he doesn't
really expanding his outside interests as well. So Charalampos Grigoriou also just terrible. Bad analysis. Bad.
And to me, it's the exact reason why we have our system play. And we don't have many system plays, but that is basically the definition of it. Dana White Contender Series, unless it's Carlos Pratas, unless you're fucking sure, you must fade. You have to. You have to, because these guys getting heavy chalk, Dana White Contender Series, don't deserve it. Tom Nolan getting slammed on his head. This dude choking on a bag of dicks to Chad Enhelliger. Like, it's not happening. The dude had absolutely no gas. Goes 5 rounds on the regional circuit. Can't do 5 minutes with Chad, the bad Canadian boy, and Enhelliger. Like, come on, man. No way.
Eric, what's going on? Not sure. I hope that's your real last name. Otherwise, you like fuck Paul Felder? Like I'm Flugfelder? It might just be like I'm just.
That's his real last name. Are you good? Do you need mental attention?
Well, I'm saying like what my question is, if it's not his real last name, like what could he? Is he saying like fuck Paul Felder? Like I'm trying to figure out. That's what my question is. Is like
he might be saying he's the plug. Like who cares? It's his last name. Leave him alone.
What's up, Eric? Maybe you want to let us know in the chat. Appreciate it. Big Paul Felder fan. There you go. Love it. Awesome. See, wanted to know. And he gave us the answer. We appreciate
Irish Dragon, man.
All right. Now here's the thing I'm noticing. So Jafel Filio inside the distance versus Ode Osborne. Great bet. We're going to get to the big one last. I'm saving it. Then we have an A's parlay once again. And it seems like as I'm running through these, anytime you parlay anyone bigger than minus 250, we run into an issue with one of them. Devin Clark was like minus 250, minus 270, whatever. I'm seeing Kennedy and Zechiku minus 550, Javid Bashrad at minus 800. Like, what are we getting out of this eventually? Like,
so
that's the question, really.
What I also see is a parlay of Macy Chason and Gerald Mearshart that works.
And they're minus 250 and minus 225, and together they're plus money. That's what I said. Anything minus 250 or lower, maybe we can consider it for a 2-leg parlay.
I think
if it's above minus 250,
by the way, both
you
of them
have to just change your.
Both of them won by finish. And I just think one of the major things.
All right, thank you. It is his real name, Guru. It's German. I told you. No. I don't know. Or is it not real?
You're literally dumb. He says he's a Paul Felder. Dude, take a time out. Relax.
No,
The
never.
point is, I think one of the major things, first off, we weren't picking Amen. Like, deciding to lay off Hobbit or not is a different choice. But we didn't think that Amen would win. That was a
Right, but why
mistake
are we parlaying a minus 800?
because we did think
No,
that he would, but we did.
no, it's
We
bad.
did.
It's minus 800 though. It's minus
I agree.
800. What value
Tyler,
are you getting?
dude,
So I
you
said it's
know,
bad.
I
So I said it's bad.
agree. We're understanding why we did it, not saying that we would do it again. We're trying to understand the rationale. What I'm saying about it, Kennedy and Zetriku, is that made no sense because I specifically talked on the pod how much he was no good and how it made no sense. But you come around to thinking that, oh, he's just going to get a finish or whatever because you just kind of listen to the rabbit hole over and over and the echo chamber that is Twitter. And you're like, okay, well, if everybody thinks so, I guess I must just be missing something. Like, no, you literally breaking down the fight. Oh, Kennedy and Zetriku. Yeah, the UFC's promoting him. They like him. Bro, no. And he sucks. So definitely not. They just gave him the softest landing possible because it's OSP.
Well, fair enough. I mean, listen, taking a Chasson and Mearshart parlay there, yeah. I mean, if you're taking people that you think are going to win dominantly
I played inside the distance on Chasson and inside the distance on Fieldhouse. So let's move on.
Yeah. Kibosh versus Namajunas. This one, interesting card. We had Peyton Talbot for not enough units, 2 at minus 110. Definitely not enough. Should have had way more. But, wait a second. You said let's move on. We didn't talk about Isaac Dolgarian, 6 units at minus 125.
I feel like we already did talk about it.
You brought it up like 5 cards too early. We never talked about the unit sizing, how we beat the line movement from minus 125 to minus 200. And the talk was how, C-Rod was the right play. I would do it again.
I don't think C-Rod was the right play. I would do it again.
That's what I'm saying. I think that Dolgarian was the right play. We did the wrong unit size.
I don't agree with that either.
I think it was too much.
Listen, I don't agree either. I think we felt like we had a major edge in the betting market, and I felt like we felt he was going to dominate, and he did. He just gassed out because he's too inexperienced. So that in that respect, maybe
we put 6 units on an inexperienced guy. It doesn't matter what the line is.
You're right.
Yeah, I am. Thank you. Now, as we go on, that's what kept us from betting 5 units on Peyton Talbot. And quite frankly, it would hurt less if we didn't just so we're breaking down all the fights from the last break essentially that we bet on. We're getting there though. We're almost at the most recent card. So as we're going here, I mean, Billy Quarantillo versus Yusuf, terrible.
That was one where we really needed to search our feelings more. Like we knew it the whole week, but we just didn't want it to be true. And that was a mistake. And to your point, like you were just kind of saying, there was 2 things that would have happened. We should have either not laid as much on Dolgarian, so we would have done it on Talbot, or B, God willing, we should have freaking won the bet in the first place. And if we would have won, we absolutely still would have hammered Talbot. We definitely kind of got gun shy there after being burned the week before.
Right. So now Luis Pajuelo and Kurt Hollabaugh.
Terrible.
Just bad dog shots. But Julian Erosa for 2 units, and then Yarno Aarons for a unit. Now that's where Yarno Aarons is part of like our new system play, taking those guys against the Dana White Contender Series debutants, and then Mick Parkin minus 125 against Usman. In retrospect, that's a gift, Us taking Zalesnyakova inside the distance versus Rendon, it sucks, but she had never been finished. That's a bad bet for women's MMA, but plus 215, half a unit, not the worst. Fight goes the distance for Lima versus De Silva, who predicted the arm biting. Over 2.5 rounds for Wynn and Aarons, great bet. Hamosh round 1 knockout was kind of a system play versus Erosa, so you have to do it if you're taking 2 units on Erosa. Miles Johns by decision at plus 195, fantastic bet. Pajuelo didn't take into account that even if he couldn't be knocked out, he could be subbed. And Rose, she never really was that close to winning inside the distance, huh? Bad one. So, moving on, UFC Atlantic City, we actively both received AIDS from being in attendance for this card and having many horrible things go wrong. I think every single prop bet that we laid tracked on this card went down in flames, except Angel Pacheco versus Kellen Rockland, fight goes the distance. So that one hit for plus 150, but then Bill Algeo parlay. Oh my god. I mean, that was sad. I mean,
Super AIDS after interviewing Kyle Nelson.
Yep. As much AIDS as it possibly gets. 2 units on Bruno Silva and Jamal Emmers. We got a minus 278 on Bruno Silva. So, yep, that's breaking the rules. Can't do that type of AIDS anymore, especially against. Yeah, it was killer. Ibo Aslan, we had that under. We had Aslan round 1 finish, and he goes and wins the decision. I mean, my God.
That was a real good one. No, he didn't win a decision. He knocked him out in round 3.
Oh, that's right. He just took way too long to do it because Turkali sucks balls. Chris Weidman, he didn't win by sub. He wins by eye poke, so that was pretty terrible. Fight goes the distance in the Luque Buckley fight. That was once again another one of those kind of weird, like playing a prop hedges against the 2.5 unit dog play. We got to stop doing that. If we have a dog play, there's no prop on the fight in addition. That's just how it is. That's something I'm noticing. Then Reese McKee plus 164, 0 actual path to victory besides hoping Chitty quits. A guy has to have a legitimate path to victory.
Yeah,
Ibo Aslan is a money line play, not bad.
CLV Kings on this card.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, so you want to tell them about Aaron Blanchfield?
No.
Yeah, this guy had like 7.5 units on Blanchfield.
7 units on Blanchfield, yes. But I had minus 130, and she looked plus 500-600. I mean, she had no chance in the entire fight. Yeah. She shouldn't even been there with her. It was disgusting. It was terrible. She wasn't more athletic. She wasn't stronger. She didn't even shoot takedowns. I thought she'd be relentless. She didn't even try. She gave up. She really gave up. She
had corner advice too.
Horrible. Terrible. And honestly, as much fun as I had at the fights, not having internet, really and it was kind of hot in there. It just kind of sucked. It kind of sucked the life out of it. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
but it sucked the money out. Not maybe the life, but the money.
Yeah. All right, so we made it. This is what everyone came for. Guys, please throw a like. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
This is what they came for, the Alan Craig breakdown? Alan Curtis, too?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm realizing, I was in transit to the Gurus. I did the show with Brady. I fucked up. I didn't put in our bet MMA for Chronic Combat for Brendan Allen versus Chris Curtis, but I think individually we end up doing pretty well. I go on best bet with Brady, and I end up winning over 5 units on the show, tracked on there. And Guru, you do pretty successfully on your bet MMA as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, the big one that really changed everything was Chepe. And I think that's really the fight you got to talk about with Chepe and Charrier. Personally, I feel like that fight comes down to round 1. Round 2 was Charrier, and round 3 is Chepe. I know, again, specifically you want to talk about round 3, round 1. Very close rounds. I think that final sequence, especially the final sequence in round 3, I think that absolutely seals the deal for Chepe. It was the most damage and most control anybody had been in the entire round. And then round 1, which I thought was incredibly close, I gave Chepe. Maybe it's because I bet on him. I thought he had the more damaging strikes. I got to try to be fair. I look forward to rewatching it when tape comes time. But everybody crying robbery on Charrier. I just don't. I love to cry robbery, but I don't think this was one of them.
Yeah, and listen, I was very happy with the idea that on tape it was very clear, and just Tapology scouting too. When you put the two together, Charrier doesn't do enough to separate himself over the course of a 15-minute fight if it goes the distance. And that's just the fact of the matter. And Chepe, he's a fucking dog. He's a guy that is if you're going to finish him, and I know he's been finished before, it's not against guys like Morgan Charrier that fight close and don't really have what it takes to put a stamp on fights. It's not fucking Manolo Zucchini anymore. So those are the type of guys you want to bet on consistently. So it's a good lesson going forward. And then, I think we go now to UFC 300. I mean, this was an absolute iconic event. And we did damn well for it. I mean, Guru goes on best bet with Brady, gives out his best bet at a plus 1,200 and hits it. This guy.
Best bet. So I win 24 units on that bet. I don't know where I am in relation to 138 now, but I'm sure I'm at least in second or third place, if not first.
Yeah. Yeah. Great work. Max Holloway, rounds 4-5 decision.
No, that wasn't a
Knockout.
bet. 4-5 decision knockout. Are you fucking?
I'm sorry. Max Holloway by rounds 3, 4, or 5 knockout on FanDuel.
What we didn't do, which again is so dumb, we had time. Why would we not play those individually?
So that's where, like, there's got to be certain spots on the card where it's like not every fight that you're playing those types of props on, but only when it's like tested over time and that you can follow it on a statistical basis and by the tape. Because we saw Gaethje slow down on tape. You talked about how when he's going the distance, unless he's making the other guy a punching bag, he's going to slow down. Max is going to pick it up. Max will be the cleaner boxer. He's been better on counter strikes. And listen, it still took forever to get there. But at the end of the day, the bet cashes. And it was a beautiful thing. With 1 second left, Max, I mean, my God. So that was an absolutely incredible finish. Main event.
Wait, we didn't talk about. Did we talk about we didn't talk about for Allen and Curtis. We didn't talk about our Charlie Campbell bet.
Oh, fuck.
Charlie Campbell's Suburbs decision, which is a fantastic bet because he never came close to knocking him out. He only almost subbed him and then won a decision. It was a fantastic bet that we got at plus 270.
And that's what I gave out on best bet with Brady on my weekend. And that's why I was up over 5 units. So me and Guru cooking up the best bets the past couple weeks, and it's been fire. And listen, I think Brendan Allen, he landed damn near the same amount of strikes as Curtis. I know Curtis landed, a bit more significantly on the feet throughout the fight, but the type of grappling and positions that Allen was getting, back takes with body triangles, near submission attempts, and consistently getting there, mixed in with nearly being even on the feet, I think that's where you can see like an argument for a decision. But it was it's pretty sweet, right?
Good. Now we can talk about 300.
All right. So for this one, from our betting perspective, we didn't have a bet on a side in the main event. In fact, we end up with the Guru special that I never actually ended up betting. So that's bad on me for allowing it to happen. I'll be honest. We took over 1.5 rounds at the minus 160. He beat line movement on. And I was like, you know what? It probably does happen. Yeah. But at the same time, I was soundly on the Alex Pereira side. And I mean, why would you be
soundly?
Yeah, I placed him on my Bet MMA, and I was on Alex Pereira all week.
Yeah, but
I never wavered on the pick.
You placed 1 unit on Bet MMA, and you didn't push me at all because you were not comfortably soundly. You pushed me further on Jiri when I was teetering a little bit during the week. You pushed me further on Diego Lopes when I was like, oh, maybe Sadiq could decisionate him. And then we talked about it. I'm like, no, there's a really good chance that Diego's just going to kill him. So we pushed. That was not one you were like uber confident on, or we would have laid many more units on him.
Well, we laid 0 units on Pereira in general. You were kind of wavering back and forth. You had an open ticket on Hill that you did cash out or you didn't cash out.
I did absolutely cash out.
Right. So the problem here with Bet MMA is that it's not a real indication of what happens throughout a whole night of betting, because as we get to the main event, I end up with over $50 on Pereira money line. And I don't have anything on the over. So it's unfortunate, but there are things that happen that, you need to make a decision to get all your bets in before the fights start. But it's not that's why I bet, I rather almost look at my picket going forward when looking at the actual bets placed throughout the night. But at the end of the day, you guys are following us on Bet MMA, but you can follow us on Picket too.
You should follow us on Picket. But I mean, one of the major things to me is like, not that this necessarily happen, but like, oh, you lose units on playing Jalen Turner, but what you don't see is what we do live, and that's where I hit Renato Moicano plus money live, and then he wins a fight. So it's like you make your money back, and then that money doesn't come back on Bet MMA. You just look like a bad gambler.
Right. And I think that's kind of the moral of the story, is that there's so many things to get down on. Like Zhang Wei Li, after winning the first 2 rounds,
finishes her twice
into round 4. Yeah, but exactly. And what did we get her at? Minus 130 live? Like I'm going in to take a look at some of these bets I got, because, dude, live betting has just been absolutely insane. Yeah, minus 130 Zhang Wei Li. I got minus 145 on Max Holloway in the first round after he was clearly winning the first round. Right. I got minus 160 on Arman Sarukian live after he clearly won a couple. I had
and this is a weekly thing.
Yeah, this happens all the time.
We get plus money on
Yeah,
people.
those are 3, 4 great examples. Now, pre-fight, I absolutely love that Guru gets me over. I was kind of wavering. I wasn't sure exactly where I wanted to go, but I could see paths for both guys. And Guru's like, listen, then why are we not taking the shot on Max, who's the better boxer with more proven cardio and better stats? So I was like, you know what? You're
I
damn
like
right.
Max
So
all
we do
week.
it.
I like Max all week, and I did not. That was one of my more confident plays. I did not waver all week. I should have bet more. I I really should have, but that's the classic line, isn't it? So.
Yeah. Yuri Prohachka, great dog bet. That was awesome. Jim
That was
Miller,
quick. See,
not
like
so good.
that fight was fantastic, and here's why. Because if you're a Rakic better, you're like, oh, he almost had him, and he should have had him. Blah, blah. Like, bro, it's like Rakic is the better, more technical fighter, right? He's faster, he's cleaner striker. But one of the things that TV said this week that resonated with me was that Rakic doesn't actually want to be in a fist fight. Like he wants to point fight, and he wants to win. He wants to break you mentally. But like.
Yep.
He has no idea what it's like to be in a street fight with an absolute rabid dog. And the commentators who, for all the people give them shit, which I just find funny because everybody just likes to talk shit. MMA must be a terribly difficult thing to commentate for. But what they said perfectly was that Rakic had Jiri had disdain for Rakic's attacks. Like he's getting hit, but he literally is getting mad. He doesn't give a fuck about them, and he showed that by just continuing to run through the fire and bulldoze him, and it was a fantastic win.
I agree. And listen, how about us nailing some round props? We had Prohachka round 1, round 2 at plus 210. We had Diego Lopez at round 1, round 2 plus 165. Davison Figueiredo round 1, round 2 at plus 145. Max Holloway inside the distance plus 500 because you can't track our fucking amazing bet. That's why you follow some Pickett. Yeah. So
great card. Great card. After a rough quarter one where we're still doing a lot of learning and growing. I think 300 really put a nice taste in our mouth in terms of our work and our success. We were as a duo, we both went 11-2, and we were the top cappers on Twitter last week. I mean, tied, I believe, with Gombis and Just Win, but us 4 of maybe 35 track people. So I mean, we'll take that on the biggest, baddest pay-per-view ever created.
Grateful dude, appreciate you. Hope you're hitting some great bets. Also, guys in the chat, you're incredible. Make sure you're throwing a like on the video. Please subscribe if you're somehow here and haven't subscribed already. It would be really cool. To the over 30 people watching on Twitter or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it these days, but wherever you are out there, please come join us on YouTube. It's a great time. We bring you fun fight breakdowns, entertaining, amazing guests. We also bring on current fighters, and we're always trying to get you guys, at least an entertaining time and some good information to solidify your place for the coming weekend. So I think it's been a fun way to go back, take a look at what we have done, and going forward, it's about kind of what we've been getting into here, like taking shots on, not taking shots, but finding dogs that we think are actually going to win and playing them. And then if there is a dominant favorite you think can win, is the line appropriate for you to find one other piece to go with it? And by appropriate, is it minus 250 or less? Because above that, where's the value, man?
I think what the major thing I took away from it is educated dog shots, meaning does the dog have a legitimate path to victory? And then B is if you're playing a favorite, is the line playable by itself? And if it's not, then what's the prop?
Right.
That's what I learned because we took a bunch of them this week and last week and we found props to be hit. And I think we should continue to get back to our roots of fading the narrative. Over 1.5 in Bo Nickel fight. I mean, that would have been hilarious. I'm so pissed that I parlay that with Turner. Like that's the dumbest AIDS parlay ever. But it's like why we should just do more fading the narrative type stuff. We knew Bo Nickel wants to go far, but makes it fight more. And we also know that he's actually not really that fantastic. He just can't be.
Yeah,
he could be a great damaging striker already. Like some amazing submission wins. He's not Charles Oliveira. He's a wrestler.
I feel like that's the other thing is, yeah, I mean, when you're talking about making a minus 300 whatever bet, instead of saying like, oh yeah, this is definitely how it goes right, like think about how does this go wrong? Like, is there a way that you can envision that it goes wrong? And if that's the case, man, you shouldn't be doing it. That's what I continue to learn.
Well,
all right.
I don't know about that, but fair enough.
What you think you shouldn't be looking for what can go wrong if you're talking about a fight with a line that's over minus 300?
Because I don't know that that's the best advice, because I feel like you can then go in circles. Well, this can go wrong, and then that can happen, and then this can happen, and then I'm not sure that that's like.
I'm telling you, before you place a bet on something minus 300.
Oh,
well, ask yourself what can go wrong. If you're taking a dog shot, have fun. If you're doing a dog prop, have fun. Like, you have a better chance to make your money in the long term. Guru was tuning me out for as per usual.
Yes, exactly.
Not surprised.
100%.
Not surprised. But what you guys should be surprised about is that we decided to grace the people out there with this amazing week off show. But really just trying to have a good time and keep the good vibes alive as we head into the next week. So I'll be broadcasting live from having a good time on a little trip, but don't worry, I'll be making sure I join the people for it. Guru will be holding down the house. We have a guest Guru lined up for next week?
Not yet.
All right, so we'll get after it, but don't worry, people. We're going to have a great show for you. Make sure you're ready next Wednesday, 8 p.m. We're going to have an awesome breakdown show on this comeback card for the UFC. Then we got a pay-per-view the week after that?
Correct, 301 from Brazil.
Damn, son, that's crazy. All right, so we got some great fights coming up. Guru, you wanna take us away here?
Guys, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you're following my unbelievable co-host, TB Scouting MMA, over on Pickett, Twitter, Verdict. Don't follow him on Verdict. He doesn't do it. Actually, you know what? You did do it. You did do it.
I did do it. You
did it. All right, you did it.
They're going to do whole cards now, so I'll do it now. It's whole cards. Why would I just want to pick the main card? Like, come on. I need the whole thing. I'm a real fan.
You can follow me, the Guru Scouting MMA, Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, Pickett, Tapology, Bet MMA. Verdict, I'm back-to-back belts, so we'll take that. That's always fun. So, guys, take care. We will see you for next week. Actually, you know what? We're on the show. Really quick, we placed a couple bets for next week.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you tell them what we got?
A couple bets that we're looking at, and we placed them on books where we can have cash out because we do have more tape to be done. But we liked who do we like? We liked, I'm pulling it up.
Yeah, well, it definitely wasn't Bogdan Guskov.
We took a shot on Gabriel Benitez, which sounds crazy, I know, but Mahashata is probably on the last fight of his contract, and yeah, I don't really think he's that good. We took a really nice shot on Karine Silva over Ariane Lipski. I expect some sharps to be back to taking Lipski as a dog price. And who else did we take, TB?
So we took Marnik Man. No, I'm just kidding. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. The other fights we took Gabe Green plus 100 before he flipped to minus 130. And then Kyle Machado took it plus 137. He's currently at like plus 105. So I'm just saying, if you got Bet365, if you have FanDuel, books that are going to give you even cash outs if your line doesn't move, or a better cash out if the line moves in your favor, you should be getting ahead of what you perceive to be on line movement, because at the end, if you're beating the line over time, you're going to be successful. But sometimes you're going to go home with a CLV trophy. So, be careful and have a good time. But I think that those are good bets looking forward. 4 nice dog shots.
That's it. Take care. See you next week.